Hi, it's me again, and I'm catching up, like I said, stress-free Thursday. And I've got a couple tips for you today. Actually, I was watching a webinar this week about priorities, and it spoke to me a lot of things that they'd mentioned. And as you know, I think I've mentioned before, when you're trying to lose weight, if you're stressed out, it's going to really work against you, because when you're stressed out and your cortisol levels are high, then you're not going to be able to burn as much. You're not going to be able to, your metabolism is not going to be as great. Your cortisol tends to make you hold on to fat, and it's going to be really hard for you to lose weight when you're stressed out. So we want to try to be stress-free as much as possible for life, for a happy life, but especially when you're talking about weight loss, you really need to lose the stress. You need to figure out a way to deal with the stress in a positive manner that's not going to be something that ends up being negative. So this week, my tips to you there would be, during this webinar, they were talking about priorities and how to prioritize your life and the things that you're doing. Everybody's got so much going on. So they mentioned three things. It's like my thing this week, three things. So you want to try to eliminate things from your list. You want to try to delegate things from your list, and you want to try to automate things. So when you're trying to prioritize what you have to do, these three things are things you want to try to do. I'm awful, I'll admit it, about delegating. I like to try to do everything myself, and I like to be a yes person and say yes to everybody, and then I end up spreading myself way too thin, and I end up in places I don't want to be. Again, I've had panic attacks before. Back in college, I had a few of them, and just there's a bunch of things, but stress was definitely a factor, and stress can mess up with hormones, and those are your regulators. So when your hormones are messed up, you're all kinds of crazy. Like I said, stress can make you hold on to weight. So we want to figure out a good, healthy way to deal with stress, and delegating can be a very good way to do that, because it's going to take some things off your plate. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to be perfect. Somebody else is going to do it, and they're going to do a fine job. So whenever you can, try to delegate. Whenever you can try to automate things. So, I tend to sit down and spend a lot of time writing out bills. But if you sit down and you automatically have those things taken care of, then you don't have to spend the hours or whatever to write out the bills. So that would be an automated thing. There's other things in your life that you can automate too. And then eliminate. Sometimes you just might have to plain old eliminate stuff. If your to-do list is way too long and you're never going to get it done, you might need to just eliminate. So one of the tips that they said is, when you write out your to-do list in the morning, write out your to-do list, and then you want to look at your to-do list and think of your desires, what you would really like to do that day on the to-do list, and then the drudgeries, the things you hate to do. And when you're looking at that list, pick your three most important things that have to be done that day. Whether it's because you need to go to work and make money, you've got a deadline coming up, whatever. So pick your three things and write the next step for those three things, because that's going to take some stress off of you. Sometimes people don't know where to start if they've got a really long list of things to do. So just top three things, write your next step, go on from there, and then write down on your to-do list, out of all the things you have, what you desire and what's a drudgery, and try to get rid of some of the drudgeries. If they're not real important, just knock them off your list, or try to find somebody else you can delegate those drudgeries to. I'm a mom. I can learn, and my children do chores. So if some of the things you hate to do is clean or do some of those household chores, delegate them. Give them to your kids. Tell your spouse you need some help. And, if it's your kids, give them an allowance for it. But, figure out ways to do that to-do list and not make all the weight and pressure come back on you. So that'd be my first tip, to eliminate, delegate, and automate when you can. Then the other thing I've learned this week that's going to help a lot with stress is they talked in this webinar about making margins in your life. So planning margins in both your time and your money. So money can be a big stressor. So obviously you don't want to spend more money than you make. Seems pretty obvious, but we do that. Try to get rid of your credit card debt, because that can be a huge stressor. You got this 20% whatever interest rate on your credit card debt, get rid of it. I haven't had a credit card for a couple of years now. They've got debit cards that go into your account. The money's there. You can still use it like a credit card. It works. So margins with your money, and that could be a whole nother topic. But the other thing you want to do is make margins with your time. And I'm awful, awful. Did you hear that? Awful with this. Um, they'd said if you've calculated the time it takes you to get, let's say, from your house to your friend's house you're supposed to go to, say you're going to a party, you've calculated it's going to take you 20 minutes, so you have to leave at X amount of time. Once you figure that out, you found out you have 10 minutes before you have to leave. So what do? What do? I say, oh, I've got 10 minutes. I can do this, this, and this. And I try to cram my to-do list in there because I haven't learned to delegate or eliminate or automate. I got way too much stuff on my list, and I try to cram it in there, then I'm late all the time. I'm late. I'm not late because I'm lazy. I'm late because I'm trying to do way too many things in the allotted amount of time. My husband calls it Heather time. So I always think things take way less than they do. I often do that with directions too. I'll think it's going to take me 20 minutes and it takes half an hour. I like to be optimistic, but sometimes being optimistic is not realistic. So make margins in your day, because if I have that 10 minutes and I just leave 10 minutes early and I happen to hit traffic, it's not going to be as big of a deal. If I get there 10 minutes early, then I'm there 10 minutes early and I get 10 minutes of peace to sit and relax and breathe. So margins in your day, that's my tip for this week. Margins in your time, margins in your money, make your to-do list, delegate, automate, eliminate. So there's your stress-free tips for our stress-free Thursday. Thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you for Fun Friday. All right, bye.